McLaren is back among the top teams in Formula 1, and Lando Norris, who had been hoping for a championship-winning car, might finally be on his way to getting it. With Zac Brown's impressive leadership, the team is making tremendous progress, and there's a possibility that they could become strong contenders for the championship next season. But can McLaren keep up their pace in improving the car, or is this just temporary? Their latest statement sent the F1 world in frenzy, and it seems like we haven't seen nearly all of the MCL60's potential. The McLaren car is just fast enough to maintain its position on the track, but it definitely lacks the extra pace needed to compete for the top 10. If Piastri and Norris had better starting positions and a faster car, scoring points would have been possible. Things took a positive turn in Austria, and Norris was thrilled with his qualifying performance, securing the 4th position on the grid. Although he felt he could have done even better, he was still very happy with the result. The track's limits were challenging to navigate, but the car's new improvements helped a lot, and Norris felt comfortable driving it right from the first practice session. As soon as we put the car down, things were working, I think, as they were meant to be, which is always a good sign, he commented. I guess as a driver, if you don't put the perfect lap together, when it could have been something that little bit more, which would be a P3, you just wish you could put it together. But I'm very happy. Lando Norris was happy with the updates McLaren made to their car. Despite limited practice time, they understood the car well. While they couldn't make the most of everything, Norris was still pleased with his 4th place qualifying result. He mentioned that McLaren tends to perform better in qualifying than in the actual race, so he wasn't sure what to expect for the upcoming days. The weather would also play a role, and he wouldn't mind some rain, but he's not as confident in dry conditions. On the other hand, Norris's teammate Oscar Piastri secured the 13th spot in qualifying. Lando Norris has always enjoyed racing at the Red Bull Ring. Except for 2022, he has consistently qualified well, usually starting around 4th place. Even when driving less competitive cars, he managed to finish no lower than 7th in Austria, with 2 podiums to his name in the Styrian Hills. However, this weekend felt different. Around lap 28, something changed. After initially dropping back to 6th place, Norris's car started to pick up pace. He made a fantastic move on Lewis Hamilton to snatch 4th place. Though Sergio Perez later overtook him, no other Mercedes or Aston Martin driver could challenge him before the end of the race. This 5th place finish was well-deserved and impressive, especially considering McLaren's struggles earlier in the season. Norris praised the team's recent upgrade, which helped them take a big step forward in performance. It was a pleasant surprise for him and a rewarding result for the whole team. Though there were some factors that affected other teams' performance, the progress McLaren made was evident. Pierre Gasly from Alpine, their rival team, finished 30 seconds behind Norris. Piastri had a challenging day and finished 16th after incurring penalties. His race was hampered by wing damage from a collision with Magnussen. In the next 2 races, something extraordinary happened. The McLaren car transformed into a rocket ship, as praised by Lewis Hamilton, who witnessed how McLaren quickly passed him. At Silverstone, Lando started from the 2nd position and managed to overtake Verstappen at the beginning of the race. He even led for a few laps before Verstappen reclaimed the lead after DRS was enabled. Lando finished in an impressive 2nd place for 2 races in a row, at the Silverstone GP and the Budapest GP. These outstanding performances marked McLaren's official comeback to the top after a disastrous start to the season. The team's hard work and improvements paid off, and they were now competing with the best on the grid. McLaren CEO Zac Brown has made it clear that the team won't be slowing down on upgrades for the rest of the season. Even as the summer break approaches after the Belgian Grand Prix, many teams start focusing on the next year, sometimes reducing their upgrades. But McLaren is not following that path. They have recently introduced upgrades that have taken them from the midfield to the front of the grid, earning 2 consecutive podium finishes. They are determined to keep pushing forward with improvements and continue their impressive performance. In Austria, they brought in revised sidepods, changed the bodywork around the engine cover, and introduced a new floor design, a significant change considering the ground effect era. Then at Silverstone, they added a new front wing, nose and an improved rear suspension. This upgrade helped Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri secure 2nd and 3rd positions on the starting grid and finish 2nd and 4th in the race. The 3rd stage of the upgrade was planned for Hungary, but it faced delays in production, extending the expected completion until after the summer break. Nonetheless, McLaren's commitment to continuous improvement has shown promising results on the track. McLaren is not slowing down in their pursuit of car refinements. With stable regulations for 2024, they plan to carry over the lessons learned this year to the next season. CEO Zac Brown stated they are fully focused and determined to keep pushing for improvements. They have more developments in the pipeline, including some significant updates later in the year. The competition is tight, as shown by teams like Alfa Romeo and Williams making unexpected progress. During the press conference in Hungary, McLaren team boss Andrea Stella confirmed that more new parts will be introduced after the final stage of the current upgrade package. They realized they needed additional time for design and production, but fans can expect to see new parts in the upcoming races and after the summer shutdown. While McLaren continues to make changes to their car for ongoing improvements, Red Bull has already confirmed that they have limited tweaks left for their RB19. These remaining adjustments will be specific to certain circuits rather than significant overall changes to their package. Red Bull faces a challenge as they have less wind tunnel time compared to their competitors, putting them at a disadvantage. Therefore, they are shifting their focus to next year's car development. They will make a few circuit-specific tweaks, but most of their research and development work has already been done. In theory, this means that the gap between Red Bull and McLaren, who are currently the two fastest cars in Formula One, should continue to narrow as the season progresses. The competition will likely become even more intense as both teams strive for further improvements. This is what Zac Brown said about Norris. "I think the way you keep him is you give him a good race car. So I think as long as we keep doing that, then he'll stick around." McLaren is focusing on the bigger picture, evident from recent signings like Rob Marshall and the reshuffling of the team structure with James Key departing as the technical director. Although some have questioned their process, the truth is they now have a strong chance to compete fairly with Red Bull. Even though Verstappen finished a significant 30 seconds ahead of Norris, McLaren has made significant strides. They still have work to do, but they are determined to be the first car to cross the finish line. There's no denying the impressive progress McLaren has made, despite some criticism about their design being similar to Red Bull's. The truth is they learn from what works best, and through their own innovations have become the second fastest team on the grid. It's evident that McLaren won't stop here. They are determined to keep improving. Even for Red Bull, with their development on the 2023 car stopped due to the budget cap penalty, the gap between McLaren and them is likely to shrink further in 2023. McLaren's dedication and continued improvements show that they are a force to be reckoned with in the Formula One competition. It's surprising but exciting to see McLaren emerge as a team ready to challenge Red Bull to the fullest. Meanwhile, other teams like Mercedes, Aston Martin and Ferrari have faced setbacks in recent races. This presents a perfect opportunity for McLaren to capitalize on their momentum and continue with their young and talented driver duo. Despite the doubts from others, McLaren is determined and won't give up easily. They know there's still progress to be made to compete at the front of the grid, but they are on the right path. All of this makes the 2023 season even more intriguing and promises some thrilling races ahead. Do you think that McLaren is poised to win a couple of races in 2023 and make things hard on Red Bull's perfect season? And even more importantly, do you think that they have what it takes to be competitive in 2024 and maybe even fight for the championship? Let us know in the comments below.